This is going to be your guide to stage builder shenanigans in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So this video is mostly just going to be about the discoveries I made in the first day of playing around with Stage Builder, so naturally there's going to be more information and more crazy things that come out in the future, but I think this is also a good starting point, because when I first started playing with Stage Builder, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a battlefield and maybe I'll be okay and something, I felt like I had no creativity, I felt like I had no ideas, but after playing around with it, I started to learn things about it, I started to get some really neat ideas, and it grew from there. So if you're struggling with just making an interesting stage for your friends, maybe this video will help out as well. So the first thing I want to talk about are the textures. That you come in, you start making grass, you have dirt, sand, all these interesting textures and stuff, and the biggest question is, do they do anything? Now, pretty much what I've learned is almost every texture has some kind of subtlety or interaction that isn't maybe fully well understood, but there are some small differences, and then there are some ones that have major differences. Like lava, that's your lava damaging block. You draw with that, someone gets hit into it, they're going to take a lot of damage, and they're going to get shot around. Ice? It's ice. It's not fun, but if you want to make a trolley stage, you can do that. Bouncy rubber bounces items and stage platforms in a more erratic way, and rubber also has its different interactions, but there's also a gravity involved. So there is a gravity feature that lets platforms fall and stuff. That's primarily going to be the focus of this video, since I did a lot of playtime with gravity, just learn the weird things this game does, and there's actually weight to some of the items. So paper falls the fastest, then yarn, sponge, grass, denim and sand, lava, dirt, carpet, everything else. So as you can see, there's these little things, maybe interactions with other textures and other platforms that might not be just obvious on the surface. So what I did was I set up a bouncy platform with some other stuff. I have gravity on it, and if we play, we can see that there's a lot of different ways that things kind of go crazy. And I love the idea that you could have some kind of weird physics world and just have things bouncing around. So we're going to explore that a bit more. But a couple things I've learned right off the bat from this is that wood, it bounces more straight. There's going to be a little bit more variance when it comes to rubber. When rubber respawns, it'll actually have a bit of a tilt or a wiggle, so it'll bounce in different directions as it respawns, but wood is more straightforward. Bouncy rubber on bouncy rubber does some nutty stuff, but also another thing that you might notice with comparing wood to the rubber is that rubber, when it sticks to rubber, it just lands and it sticks and it's done. But wood will actually wiggle a bit more, so rubber on rubber interaction is unique compared to rubber on other surface interaction. Just a couple things to discover. But now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's erase all this because we don't need to worry about it, even though we're pretty much going to be building those platforms again. Let's kind of make a little, whoop, no, that one's too short. I need to zoom in and make sure I get the right size. So let's make a little piece of rubber right here, and let's go and give it some gravity, because that's going to give us the opportunity to actually add gravity to some of these special items, which is really weird, because if you go, it's alright, I want a cannon, but what happens if I place this cannon in and it starts falling on people? That would be sick. So you go to edit, you click on cannon, and there's no feature for gravity, you can only rotate around. However, items automatically stick to each other. So you can do, actually, you need to have it more on a flat, but I'll just kind of show you guys for this. So when you do that, now these items are kind of bound together. You can also hold down the select button, and then it'll select both of them if you want to kind of rotate or spin both of them at the same time. But what I'll do is I'll do this. This has our gravity. It's connected. So now when we play it, we have a cannon that has gravity. You can do that with bumpers as well. I've only seen 2 tweets of people talking about it. I can't really find any Reddit posts about it at this time. So I think people are too busy drawing naughty things in swastikas, and it actually looks like this still works. It depends, yeah. So you can have some problems depending on how the stuff is drawn on a cannon. And this guy shows is this intended or not? Because it feels like if you actually put one of these items, or if you put a platform, you give it a little bit of gravity, and then you just have it fall, it seems oh, that's a way you can have falling bumpers and falling stuff like that. But if you do it wrong, then it's going to be weird. So what you want to do is you want to have this more flat and at the bottom. That way it doesn't interfere with the blast or anything like that. We can also do the same with bumpers. So let's go and delete the barrel. So what you can do is you can fit a platform inside of a bumper pretty easily. Again, all you have to do is make sure you just keep adding the gravity, and if you add the respawn, everything just kind of respawns together and it stays stuck together. I feel like this is some Mario Maker stacking shenanigans going on, but it also makes it to where now you have a hazard that's kind of running around and doing its own crazy thing, and if it falls off, well, it comes back. That's pretty cool. And also, like I kind of said earlier, when things respawn, they respawn with a slightly different trajectory or wiggle to them, you know, rotation, and that's actually going to cause them to behave in different ways different times. So you can do this with various platforms. You can have rubber on rubber. Mostly the bouncy rubber is what makes it interesting. If you have a little bit of just like a tilted stage, that means you're going to have a possibility that, you know, these bumpers aren't going to stall out. You know, if a bumper stops into a bumper or maybe hits like some kind of weird corner, it can just stop, and that's not fun because it's not bouncing around, it's not going to respawn or anything. But if you add a little bit of extra, you know, geometry to it, things get a little fancy real quick. So from that one basic idea, I've expanded it into some pretty crazy stuff. So I was thinking is, alright, what happens if you take bomb blocks and just have them slide across the stage? Because even when a bomb block hits a flat stage, it'll just slide. Like, it feels glitchy. It feels like something broken out of some kind of speed run or something when it just kind of like drifts off into the abyss. But as you can see right here, they'll use the ice, they'll get some momentum, they'll maybe bounce around on each other some, and now you have like a random assortment of blocks that are bombs just coming your way. Unfortunately, the main thing that disappoints me about this is that they don't explode and deal damage. Sakurai, please. And another problem that happens here is if there's not enough room for the bombs to respawn, they're just going to stay as platforms like that forever. Let's see if I don't remember how your character influences that. Yeah, so as you can see, bomb's not respawning because I'm in the way of it, and you can only do so much. So if like two of these stack on each other, it gets bad. So if you use the standard rubber or wood or steel, they're just not going to really be able to respawn. So if you have bouncy rubber, they might bounce around for a bit, it might be a little jank, but eventually they'll be able to respawn, and then you can destroy them and they'll come back, and then once they respawn, they'll push them more. So there we go, we have like fun little sliding platforms that explode if you want to do some kind of level like that. Also, another level that I've done, and by the way, if you want to check out any of these levels, you can find the codes posted on screen. You know, give them a yeah, don't un-yeah them, and then maybe get them like promoted and stuff, because it shows some really cool ideas. So going off the bumper one, I'm like, what happens if we just have it raining bumpers? You know, we use a lot of rubber, we use a lot of things, it's just like RNG flying bumpers all over the place, and this is what I ended up with. So I've got like moving platforms on the side, pushing them in. The stage is slightly angled, so the bumpers are always going to be rolling and stuff. And then I have like these little flippers and platforms that open at roughly, you know, a 90-degree angle. So it kind of creates a little trapdoor effect. Might hold on to some of the bumpers, might stall a few of them. So you're getting like some really crazy bumper RNG that makes it really hard to just kind of fight in. So this was my idea. Instead of instead of drawing lewd things and trying to make like cheeky little maps, I was like, what happens if we just make trolly fun maps and stuff like that? So you can add more bumpers, you could add less bumpers if you want to have like a nice little fighting style, but this one's effectively just survive chaos and just death and stuff. And maybe if you wanted to, you have like a lava block that has a bumper on it, so you're taking damage while you're going into the bumper. And I try to put some anti-cheese in here because like one thing people could do is, you know, they could hide up here and stuff, which is why the moving platforms, maybe just not have them depending on how much your friends are going to be jerks. But overall, if you just spawn and then you go into the barrel will shoot you straight into the platform, so you can get right back into the action. So there's a little bit of like, you know, issues that happen because of how the spawning works, but overall you can get back into it, and then you can just go and get pummeled by these. It's really fun against level 9 computers. It's really fun watching just level 9 computers fight, and then you put in some items and you can have a blast. So this is just like super cheesy, gimmicky level stuff that you can have inside of your games. As for ideas, you know, one of the biggest issues I had, kind of like what I said at the beginning, is I really didn't have too many ideas when I was trying out Stage Builder, so I just felt like I was making boring stages. I didn't want to draw either. You know, I don't want to spend 3 hours to make like a really cool artistic vision in Stage Builder. I want to make a level that's going to be stupid to play with my friends. So here's one I have called Yeet Barrels. So it's pretty much just like bumpers, so you either like blast them super hard through them, or you try to like target them into the barrels, and then they just fly off screen and die, which has led to some really funny effects. But this is kind of like what I feel the biggest, most important thing is that just using the hazards. If you use hazards, it's going to inspire creativity. So I'm like, oh, bumpers are fun. So you can put some bumpers there. You can make cannon traps and stuff. And that's, again, where the other ideas come into play. So if we go and test this one out, we can come in. I have like all these other ideas. So it's like, yeah, you know what's unfun? Having these little areas where you can just like camp and then bounce off the walls indefinitely. But if you get knocked into it, boom, barrel, you're going to be straight dead. Oh no, we respawn. Well, you can use your invulnerability to actually get back through this. Just don't fall into that barrel, because then things are going to be pretty bad and unfortunate for you, because as we just showed, you can use barrels to do a thing. Maybe you can like weasel your way back in depending on the character. There we go. But you're going to not have that great of a time. It's funny watching computers bounce off of this. So yeah, you can fight over here, you know, try to hit them into that high one. You can try to bounce them into these, or you can just kind of go over here and try to hit them in this lower one. Boom, they're dead. So that's kind of the ideas I've been having and coming up with this. There's also a few other things you can do when it comes to gravity and crazy shenanigans like that. Because what else happens when you're just kind of like playing around with barrels and items attached to each other and stuff? Like, all right, let's slap a cannon over here. Let's rotate it around. Now these guys are connected. If we gave this gravity, things are just going to go pretty weird. That shouldn't interfere too much. We can also just kind of add a bumper, unlike the other side. So what happens is this is going to like fall, it's going to rotate, it's going to bounce. Also, this shouldn't be, whoa, that's going to get crazy. This shouldn't be grass, this should be bouncy rubber. So let me go and remake that platform here really quick. And you give it gravity, you give it respawn, and you just kind of get to see what happens. So this is my idea, is like, all right, what kind of weird traps and contraptions can you make when it comes to, like, imagine just that. Falling around, scooping people up, and then just like shooting them off into oblivion. Let's see if I can get, yeah, oh, let me get sucked up. Yeah, I wanted to just kind of like roll off and blast me out or something. So you can just kind of, you know, make all kinds of weird hybrid contraptions and stuff like that. Also, when you connect one thing, it all has gravity, so you don't have to like keep assigning gravity to every little bit. So now that this barrel is connected to this thing that has gravity, it all behaves the same. And apparently I have discovered perfect balance in the physics, almost perfect balance in the physics, you know, without even trying. So you can use that, you can add another bumper there. So you could just like kind of create a box of gravity, harsh angles, and bumpers, just bouncing around the stage, sucking people up and making things hard. You know, something like this. You just kind of have like some kind of weird boss creature rolling around, hurting people and making life tough. Like, again, what if you swap that out for lava? So you just have like this lava that's like a wall of lava that's attached to these, I don't even know what kind of, there we go. Oh, that actually looks like it'll be mean. So you can just kind of experiment with stuff like that. So, boom, put the bumper there. You can give lava gravity and maybe put a bumper on the other side. So, I mean, someone gets popped by that several times as just kind of like rolling around, literally steamrolling people. Things are going to get pretty silly. So let's get this out of the way so it doesn't like get in the way. And then you play with that. Boom. As just rolling around, throwing people into the shenanigans. You can also just kind of create a death arena with something like that. I mean, people have probably already just made like straight up only blocks of lava falling and bouncing around. But I mean, if you also wanted to add maybe some ice, maybe some bouncy rubber, then put in some walls so it just doesn't bounce out all the time. Oh, that'd be wrong. Oh, that'd be wrong. You just get hammered in there, and then there's like some kind of angled up thing right here that keeps bouncing in. You know, your creativity is going to be your best thing. Also, that's going to stop that from falling in. But overall, there's the idea of things you can do. The last thing that's fairly unfortunate, I feel, is that you can't put anything with gravity on a rail. So we have gravity, we have a rail, and everything else is trying to connect. And, oh, it kills off the gravity. Cool. Same with rotation. Oh. That got a little spooky there for a second. It just kind of like ran in things. So yeah, you can use like the rail to kind of also help nudge items along. You also can't have things spinning. Like that's the, well, I mean, you can, but it just wouldn't be the same. You know, you can't have things spinning while gravity is in effect, but you have things spinning on a rail. So now we can just kind of create, you know, some kind of saw blade of death and hate when it comes to these bumpers. But that's just kind of, you know, that's intended. That's not having like a random thing bouncing around doing some crazy stuff. But let's see what happens if we get into that lava. Now, what's this going to do to us if we get under there, boom, like that. We try to get out. We hit one of the bumpers, and things just kind of go crazy. So there we go, guys. You can do all kinds of wacky stuff in the new stage builder for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm probably going to do a lot more videos about this because I think it's fun, just kind of breaking the game. There's a lot of really glitchy things that end up happening as well. And that's kind of it. So, guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.